It is a Wellness Wednesday, and we're still trying to stay well, even though we are in the middle of the holidays. And joining us right now, Scott Campsell from Akami Kai and Wally Blacklock as well, joining us, talking some edumacation. How are you guys doing?
Morning, Dan.
Doing well.
Good. Now, Wally, I guess it's a downtime for you guys as well, or do you still have clients that come in during a Christmas vacation?
Oh yeah. We've got a few. I mean, some kids take the break. They certainly deserve it, and their parents completely deserve it. So they're taking a couple of weeks off, but we still have a few kids that are coming in. We're open.
Wow. Is it unusual this year because now we're talking about the lockdown and kids will be learning virtually again until a little later on in the month?
Yeah, I was actually just this morning trying to look at the DDSB website, and there isn't a lot of information forthcoming other than they just know kids won't be able to go back in class. I think elementary kids January 11th and secondary January 25th, but they're still running virtual classes for those in-between weeks. So I guess kids are supposed to go online before they go to school.
Well, that's got to be. I would think that's got to be difficult for some kids to make that transition to learning virtually. I can remember when we were taking a coaches clinic in sports, and they're talking about the different ways of learning. And I think we've talked about this in the past. Some of the visual learners and some are tactical or tactile, and the tactile tend to do better in a classroom setting because it's not one-on-one, but it's in that kind of environment. Is that what you're still seeing?
There would be some kids. I think visual learners would have maybe an easier time in some ways. I think it's just such a mix-up. I think almost any kid's probably struggling a little bit with it.
Does it matter how they learn? Like, I guess that's the bottom line, isn't it? Are they still learning, or are you finding that they are learning it, the way they did in the past?
I think they just have to adapt. I think parents are kind of adapting, and if they realize that their kid learns a certain way and that online isn't necessarily going to meet that, then they'll represent the material to their children in ways that they can understand it. I don't know. Hopefully this isn't forever. They've certainly improved quite a lot the way that they're reacting with kids, because everyone's had huge hurdles to jump over, and learning how to do this is sort of new to everybody, but they're getting better. But I think a lot of it's falling on parents and finding tutors. I know some parents, they're putting together kind of pods where the parents are they see their strengths, so they're trading off who's teaching the group of kids what after school. So that's kind of cool.
Wow. Scott, you had a question there?
Yeah, have you seen that, like I know with us, we've seen kids that normally wouldn't have thrived in an in-person environment, and they actually excel being at home and being online. Have you seen anything where, you can see some kind of improvement in a student?
Personally, I haven't seen it, but it's kind of the nature of my business. I don't get to see anybody until they're having a problem, so I haven't really seen the other side.
Yeah, because I know with us, we've had, definitely we've got a lot of students that are, obviously it is challenging to go online, and challenging as a teacher too, but at the same time, there's some kids where we just see all of a sudden their comfort level is way higher because of the fact that they're able to be home. And then if that's actually transferred over to us too, when they actually do get back in the dojo, then all of a sudden we say, well, look at the improvement you've made in a couple of months. So I'm not saying this is a good thing by any means, but I think where Dan, you're talking about different types of learning, I think it definitely hits different tangents. But so if we're talking about going online and all the all the challenges and all of the different changes in perspectives and everything like that. Is there anything that we can do to prepare our kids for having to go online when we are going back to school?
Well, Actually, I was just thinking about that again a little more this morning. Is the first thing you can do is don't assume that your children are computer literate. They may be very literate on doing the things they like to do if they're on their phones or on their computers, so gaming, texting, social media, and stuff like that. But what I'm kind of seeing is if they get into the Google Classrooms or even navigating the video or Zoom rooms or breakout rooms, it's pretty complex. And some kids, they just whack away on the keyboard. They will get into the settings in your computer and change them all over the place. So you should probably think about locking those down. It probably, if the kids are a little bit better on the computer, then they're going to do a little better virtual.
The old clickety, 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 click. Well, it's not working now.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get there and you're going, I have no idea what I'm looking at right now, but it's not where I left it.
Or where did that go? Yeah. Where did that document go?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody in Hong Kong is reading it at the moment. So
that's math. We're all trying to figure out the new division.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was working with one guy, and when I went into, I have access to his classroom to help him, and when I went in, I had to pull a whole bunch of his work out of the trash can. He was just trashing everything.
Oh, no. Well, and there's an interesting point, too, that Scott kind of brought up, about learning the new math and things like that, and the curriculum has changed. Have you found that things have changed dramatically, or has it gone back because of what has happened during COVID? As far as what they're teaching, a little more
back to basics.
Yeah, I'm wondering because you can't throw new things right now with everything that's going on, can you?
Well, I think in some probably the high school math and stuff because they did change the curriculum there and de-streamed it. So there's some kids having some difficulty because of the more advanced level, but they're coping. And then, I don't know. It's such a mishmash.
Welcome to the world of COVID in 2020, I guess. That's the bottom line in this. And that's probably a good time to ask you. We're coming to the end of 2020, and we've gone through what we have. How are you viewing? What is your perspective as we look toward 2021 as far as education for kids and what you do for a living?
I think, for what I do for a living, I think it'll help me, and that's just kind of unfortunate because there'll be some kids that are struggling because of it. I think maybe a lot of kids that were identified with having some learning problems before this all went down, they're obviously still there and still struggling, and they may not be getting the resources that they need to help them catch up. Now, I think maybe the hope is we can kind of get through this year, and when it's all done, then there'll be like a kind of a major look back and see how this group of kids this year, they're going to move up through the school system, so there'll need to be a lot of corrections in the future.
And I guess they will be moving up no matter what, right?
Well, yeah, you'll probably see this bubble kind of moving through the school system as they move through the years, and it'll be interesting to see the data on how this year affected future marks, attendance, and that kind of thing.
You notice an emotional response, out of the kids that you're working with? Is there higher stress levels?
Definitely. I think not being in the classroom. Even some kids that are in the classroom, they're getting a lot of stress because of all the extra measures. Their day looks much different than it ever did before. I think kids that are all virtual, I think it can appear that they have assignments just flying at them left, right, and center, and I think it can be overwhelming and create some anxiety just because they don't have that interaction and that they know exactly what they're to do and when they're to do it, and they just see things piling up, and I think it makes them pretty anxious.
Well, Wally, we wish you the best in 2021. Scott as well. And all we can do, I guess, is keep one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward and hoping for a better year. It can't get any worse than 2020. Did I just jinx it?
Just change the future.
Yeah. Well, why don't I just go out and wash my car, too? Then we can have some more rain,
Yes.
Well, listen, guys, thank you very much, though, and we are looking forward to 2021 and continuing to stay in contact.
And thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, guys.
Thanks, Dan. Happy New Year.
That is Scott Campsell from Okami Kai Karate and Wally Blacklock from the Precision Learning Centre on 29 Toronto Street in Uxbridge.